everyone. Welcome to another speedrun episode against Sebastian, rated 1400. We're about breaking that 1400 barrier ourselves, and we're going to try to get a Stonewall attack if Sebastian wants to play. He does want to play. So we go e3, open up our bishop, look at the center. And let's see what setup black adopts and see if we're going to have to alter our position. So when they go for g6 type lines or bishop here, early bishop here stopping us, we don't get our typical setups. We're still going to go here. And if he takes, we're going to take with the pawn, not the queen. You could definitely take with the queen. But he doesn't take. He says, you know what, you can take and double my pawns. I don't know. That's interesting. So I'm going to try it because we haven't had a game like this. It'll be different. So let's double our opponent's pawns and then see what we're going to do. So we're not going to do the Stonewall, right? He doesn't have an E pawn, so he would have an open E file towards our backwards pawn. So we're going to switch it up and just play a normal game. So let's start with developing and center. He puts his knight here. Fine. Let's go development for free and center. His pawn is hit. It's somewhat inconvenient to defend. He defends it once. Fine. Let's get our king to safety. Now that's out of the way. This guy's not even close to castling short. He could castle long if he wanted. But instead he puts his bishop here and hits absolutely nothing, which is crazy. Because you could put it on a nice square looking at the center. So this move is not good. I'm just going to kick it for free with c3. Wow, he goes back this way, not the other way, restricting his bishop's vision and mobility. If you kick the bishop, it has to go here. If you kick the knight, it'll probably go here. Then you can kick the queen. It'll go somewhere if it wants to defend the pawn. Is there a point to any of that? I don't know. I think I just want to develop for now. So let's get our knight in the game. I do plan on going c4. I always planned on going c4 with this pawn structure. But since he put his bishop here, I included the free c3, even though I'm still going to go c4 because it's free. And it gets more information. And information is an asset in chess. So now when we go here and he takes, we could take back with the knight instead of the queen. You could also kick the bishop. There's other constructions. Like if you don't want to play c4, you can go b4. He goes back, knight b3 into c5 is interesting. But c4 is more direct, challenging his center right away. So I'm probably going to do that. Because he has two pawns here, we generally never get an e4. So then c4 becomes the important central pawn break. So now he's kind of playing a pseudo Stonewall, right? I'm thinking if I do kick this stuff twice, and he does go knight a5, maybe I don't want that. So I'm just going to go c4. He could take my knight, but then he'd give up his bishop, and we would have the only bishop on the board, which I also don't mind. It is on the same color of our pawns, but we can work around that. And it would develop our piece for us. So we're striking out at his center. If he doesn't react, we'll take a central pawn with a flank pawn and then hop our knight to c4, a nice square, which hits the bishop and supports the other knight in the center. His idea is to stick his knight in the center and, stonewall it in. But first he plays h6, a mysterious move that does nothing. And I want to say makes no sense. But the only thing I could think is he's supporting a g5, g4 idea. But okay, let him do it. That's fine. I did say I was going to take, so let's take. It's forcing, so there's no time. He takes with the queen. I don't know if, it could be well placed there or misplaced there, depending on if we can attack it. A funny move is like knight h4, hitting the pawn twice, maybe provoking g6, but it doesn't really do much. So I'm going to continue with my plan, putting my knight here, hitting the bishop, and looking at this square twice. And if I can put a knight here, then the pawn is hanging, which he may not even notice. So this is just a random queen's pawn game. He keeps the bishop here, but that gives me more free moves. That I think I'm going to throw in. That way I could always develop my bishop here without a trade. He goes here, but that allows the trade. And this bishop is nice here. That's why he should have put it here to begin with. But I think now we can just take it. Okay, so he takes with the pawn. So now he has multiple structural weaknesses. But it does cover the square from our knight. But since we don't have two knights, it was already covered by his knight. Right? So it was fine. So now we have to continue developing. So let's bring our last minor piece to its only square. He hops the knight in the center. It's a normal move. I think we should continue developing. So let's bring our rook to the only semi-open file. If he wants to take our bishop, that's fine, as we need to reroute our knight because of this pawn. And so this forces and starts the reroute early for us. Gets rid of his best piece for our not best piece. He does take, but now we reroute the knight. We put it on a new circuit with new possibilities. It's not really needed over here, as none of those squares really do anything or matter right now. It's not like we need to protect our king from a lone queen. So it's just a standard position, but he has pawn weaknesses. So endgame should favor us. It's really that simple. Don't make chess out harder than it needs to be. He goes h5, but he went h6 before. So this really makes no sense. I might put my knight back if this was an actual outpost, but he does have a second f-pawn to kick you. So not a real outpost. So I'm not going to do it. Instead, I want to continue developing. So doubling rooks seems to make a lot of sense to get our last piece in the game on the only open file. I might have called it semi-open, but it's open. Okay, so now he just defends everything, weakens the dark squares. If we did go here and provoke this, it's not like we have a good follow-up. So let's just double. Now our pieces are starting to come together, and he still is uncastled. So he tries to contest us. We need to now improve our pieces. Our rooks, they can't really be improved until we have infiltration possibilities. So it's queen or knight, right? You don't need to do anything with the pawns if you don't want. I guess you can move the queenside pawns if you want to dislodge his knight. That's possible. But you don't really want to touch these. unless somehow the e4 break works since there's no longer two pawns. But currently, if you go here, he actually can't take here because of the pin. If we did go here, we're hitting his queen. Yeah, he cannot take our pawn. I thought that maybe you couldn't do this, but if you can, does it work? If he takes here, we hop our knight in with game-winning threats. If he just moves his queen, which is the most likely, just move it somewhere. Well, then we can take, totally spoil his structure, and open up his king. So I was thinking about b4, b5, dislodging the knight when his rook would be unprotected. But he can castle, move his knight here, defend. It'll be protected at the end of the day. You could make a move like just improve the knight or try to improve the queen, but they're a little bit casual, and unless you're going for the queen trade, you can't really improve it meaningfully. However, e4, because he didn't castle, because we were double stacked with this pressure, this d pawn is immune. Oh man, I got to take this call. That's so annoying. Hold on. Hello? Hi. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye. Okay, so where was I? Sorry guys, I had to take that. So he takes the pawn, and we were going to take back. We were going to take back with the knight so we can royal fork the guy. Again, if he ever takes here, he's just going to lose the rook at the end of the line. Right now, we're threatening to win the game on the spot. Even if he castles, same threat. The king will just be in a different fork. So let's see what he does. How does he get out of it? I guess, I mean, you don't really want to move your queen here because we could just x-ray with the rook at the least. There might be better. You move your queen here. It also hangs a fork. Ooh, just as I say it. I get it, you're trying to cover this and not get pinned, but the drawback of the move, boom, 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 and that's resigns. It was a good try by Sebastian. So if the phone call came in like 15 seconds later, we would have just finished the game, and it would have been great timing. But now it was anticlimactic because it happened right before the win happened. Anyway, okay, one mistake, messing up our advantage at one point, but it was all white. Easy game. So center and development. Center and development. Development and center. Now you definitely don't have to take this. Test, test. Yeah, you definitely don't have to take this. I just wanted to experience it. You can play any number of normal moves. Knight f3, c4, knight e2, f3, stuff like that. But I want to try this. It's still a zeros, it doesn't lose or anything, and I thought this would be interesting. It's not necessarily bad for black because he could establish a really strong knight here, but it's interesting for an endgame, and I kind of wanted to see what was going to happen, but he blundered before that. So development and center. Development for free. King safety, development. Okay, improve for free. Development and center. And this was our one mistake. They wanted us to go for the b4 plan, which I mentioned, but I was set on the c4 plan. But specifically because he put his bishop here, that's why they want you to go here. It's not like he could just retreat to a good square. He put it on the wrong diagonal, so he has to go here. And now you can go a4, threatening to trap the bishop, a6, a5, bishop back. And then from here, you have to continue the game. But you only have a nice advantage if you follow it up correctly. There's only two moves here. One, not obvious, bishop a3. That wouldn't really be on my radar, but it does come with the idea of pushing b5 to open it, of course, and b5 directly. Now b5 makes a lot of sense because you have the hook and the knight, and you're jumping this in next. You can always play c4. It's not like it goes anywhere. So this is good. This makes a lot of sense. We didn't go down this though. We played the immediate c4, attacking the center, also a very strong move. And from here on out, it's just a perfect game. We take the central pawn with our flank pawn, and then improve a piece somewhat for free. Improve for free. We'll say free stuff because his bishop is better than our bishop because it complements his pawns on light and has vision through the center. Our bishop does not complement our pawns on dark and cannot see the center. So we don't care as much about our bishop, but we care more about his bishop, even though they're both dark square bishops, right? We're valuing his higher. So it's like free stuff, but you don't have to take it, right? The knight is also well placed here. Looking at the center, you can make a regular developing move, bishop d2, and you're fine. But I take it off the board, so it's never looking this way. He takes back. It's all zeros. Now just development and development, trying to complete it. Force move. This is for development. I can't double without moving this rook. Completing my development. Finally done. Slight advantage white, but nothing game winning. He puts himself in a pin, which is awkward. And now b4 is the top move, which was my idea to go b5. But I thought maybe he would be in time to defend it enough times that, you know, a6 even. So it's not like a real threat, but it's still a good plan. Let's put it that way. But this is where I committed to e4, thinking, how does he get out of this? He has one move. Otherwise, it's +5. So if he just moves the queen anywhere, thinking, oh, I'll just get out of the attack, we're winning +5 with anything. Knight c4, b4, d5. Everything is crushing as his king remains in the center. And we're going to win the rook with d5 for starters. But even the other moves were crushing when you don't win the knight. So he has to take the pawn, which he finds. We take back with the knight, which is best. And now he has to find king f8. Not the most obvious move. So if he goes king f8, then this is nothing. This is nothing. And then we have to kind of reevaluate what we're doing. Maybe now we can improve our queen. I don't know if you should switch your rooks over. It's a bit odd. Maybe now you could still go b4, but it's not a real advantage. He's going to tuck his king away, and it's just a game. We have an isolated pawn, but better pieces, and it's kind of even. Queen f3. Rook e8. Here, 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 here. Yeah, it's just a lot of even stuff. I mean, even if you play d5, he hits your knight in return. It ends up being quite drawish. But that's assuming he finds king f8 and then follows it up correctly. Right? Not obvious. I mean, how many of you honestly were thinking ahead of time, like, oh, I'm going to go king f8? Probably not a lot. So, quick game. Pretty smooth. Submit your rapid game to my Discord. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.